Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual Associations Conference here in Bournemouth. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Matt Devereux, and I'm one of the trustees of Margaret Green Animal Rescue. I'm particularly delighted to welcome to this conference many new ADCH members and some associate members who've not attended a conference before. I'm also delighted to welcome several delegates from local animal rescue organisations here in Dorset. And they're not currently ADCH members, but do go and visit the ADCH stand. I know that at least one of you is interested in becoming a member. This year, the ADCH conference has become truly global. We've got Leanne Page from the Animal Welfare League of South Australia, sat just across over there. And I think that's a first. We've never had anybody from that part of the world. So welcome, Leanne. That should work. Normally, the host organisation stands at this point and starts waving their arms. Duncan Green's here. He used to do an excellent job, waving his arms like an airline steward, talking about the emergency measures. This year, it's considerably easier because, in fact, you won't hear any alarms whatsoever. Everything's silent, and everything will be managed by the BIC team themselves. So if we do have to evacuate, a member of the BIC will come in, tell us what to do and where to go. I don't have to do anything at all. The only thing I would say is, could you please turn off your mobile phones, or at least put them to silent, because the phones do interfere with the AV system. Now, Margaret Green Animal Rescue is absolutely delighted and proud to be acting as the host this year. We're the largest and oldest multi-species Dorset-based animal welfare charity. Not only will we celebrate our 50th anniversary in just 4 weeks' time, but we'll also mark what would have been the 100th anniversary of the birth of Margaret Green. In welcoming you to Bournemouth, many of you haven't been here before, although I've met some of you that have. Here at the BIC, we're just 20 miles from what is known as the Jurassic Coast. And that, of course, features a lot of the local existence of dinosaurs and prehistoric man. That said, in historic terms, Bournemouth is very, very young. There's no history prior to 1837. This was just open fields back then. And just 30 years ago, Bournemouth had a reputation for being God's waiting room. When we moved here 25 years ago, that was where we were going, I think. Now, of course, most recently, the town has developed, and it's a base for financial services and has a very large education presence with a university and literally dozens of language schools. This conference is the largest yet for the association. We've got somewhere around 460 people in the room today. We've got 400 delegates representing 43 full member organisations and 15 associate members. And then we've got 44 delegates from organisations outside the ADCH. In preparing the programme for this conference, what I did was I sought input from the smaller organisations and said, what do you want in the speaker programme? What will bring you to the conference? So we've got two streams, an animal welfare stream in this room and a management stream in the Purbeck Lounge behind, and the content is what you asked for, so I'm hoping that you will enjoy it. The sessions are very carefully timed. Each speaker is aware that from the point in time that they start, they have either 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and then a rod will come out. So we do need to be very, very careful about the time. And between each of the speaker slots, there's a 5-minute gap. And that 5-minute gap is not to allow an overrun, it's to allow you, as the delegates, if you wish to change stream and move from this room to the other room or back to this room, you've got 5 minutes to do it. You don't need to run around and knock people flying. You should be able to get there easily. The layout of the venue makes it very simple, and the venue map is in your goodie bags. At times, this room may become full with the animal welfare stream. There is a balcony at the top, the doors across in the corner over there, and I can see a number of you lurking up in the gods there. So if this room is full, do please just go up in the balcony and make sure that you can continue to enjoy the conference. I want to extend, on behalf of the ADCH, our sincere thanks to all our sponsors and exhibitors, without whom our conferences couldn't happen. Our grateful thanks to our key sponsors, Pedigree, Pet Plan, Medimark Scientific, Seaver, and Avid. And I also just like to say a thank you to Safe Solutions, because they agreed very generously to sponsor the Wi-Fi. And for those of you that haven't quite worked it out yet, the Wi-Fi is fully open. You don't need a username and a password. So if you do happen to have devices that you want to use, it's there. Our sponsors and exhibitors all have stands in the exhibition hall, and most of you have already been into the main Purbeck Hall and walked around. All the catering facilities are in there. And we've also got 17 breed rescues, 9 today and 8 tomorrow. They've been brought in by the Kennel Club with Pam Hill's assistance. So again, those of you that do work with breed rescues from time to time, please visit them and go and have a chat. With regards to catering arrangements, there are 10 of you who have declared that you're either vegans or gluten-free. The rest of us are normal. But if you do have a special dietary requirement, and I wasn't being really funny, sorry. If you do have a special dietary requirement, your food is plated up with your name on it. So do ask the catering staff. We want you to have a positive conference, thoroughly enjoyable, and there are a large number of Margaret Green animal rescue staff here. I was going to say, would you stand up? But actually, with the lights off, you might not be seen. But all the Margaret Green animal rescue staff, could you just stand a second? There we go, right. The vast majority of them are all dressed the same. If you have any queries at all, you need any assistance, just find one of our team and they'll be able to help. And there's also, we've got volunteers as well working with us, and the main registration desk will be manned throughout the conference at all times during the day. So if you've got any queries, just ask one of us. We'll be happy to help you. Do please wear the ADCH lanyards and the badges throughout both days. There are 2 conferences at the moment in this building. There's an inner wheel conference at the front of the building and ours at the back. It's very easy for people to get confused. So if you don't wear your lanyard and you don't wear your badge, then either you'll be invited to go and join the inner wheel conference or you'll be ejected. So do please wear it at all times. You will have received an email saying that this conference is being filmed. We've got filming in both this room and in the Purbeck Lounge throughout the conference, and then the video clips of each session will be put on the ADCH private members forum. If you're not an ADCH member, you won't be able to have access. That said, that might encourage you to become a member of the ADCH. But it does mean that after the event, anybody that wants to go back and say, what was it that speaker said, what question did get asked, and what was the answer, it'll all be available for viewing. Finally, should you need a taxi to get you backwards and forwards to your hotels, United Taxis are the largest taxi service around Bournemouth, and there is a free phone in the corridor that links the reception through to the Purbeck Lounge where the management stream is. So it's very, very easy for you to ring United and just say that you need a taxi. Please come to the Purbeck Hall entrance. What I'd now like to do is welcome the ADCH chairman, new as of 45 minutes ago, Claire Horton, and Chief Executive of Battersea Dogs and Cats Home, who can formally open the conference. Claire.
Thank you. That's very kind. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bournemouth, and thank you indeed to Matt. Well, I would like to say to you, first of all, it's an incredible honour for me to take the chairmanship of ADCH. I feel extremely privileged, and having been part of ADCH for the last 5 years and on the management committee for 3, I have to tell you, when I very first started, the first meeting I ever came to, I was in AGM actually, and we were going around the room listening to stories from different organisations. I was incredibly humbled to hear the stories from everybody, and moreover moved probably to take on a really proactive role in trying to work to help improve what ADCH offers its members by the testimony of one of the members that was in the room that day, who sat there and said, well, we haven't got any money at all. We've probably got 2 months' worth before we have to close down. And who's going to look after our animals then? And actually that's not alien to me. I come from organisations way back in the past where we've had no money, we've had no people, we've had no resource, we've struggled, and we've had to really cobble together to make a difference for the animals and the people that we were trying to help. So I know how that feels. And one of the big things that people have said to me when I've been talking over the last few months about what you want from ADCH, it's this message very clear to me and to my colleagues on the committees: don't forget the small charities. There's a lot of big charities in ADCH, and we all of us love to be part of it. We are all in it together. We're all working together for the same ends. But we recognise fully that as larger charities, more fortunate with our finances and our resources, that we have a duty to help, and we're all committed to doing that. And so I think we can look forward to lots of collaborations going ahead and working together much more, I think, as a team in the way that we would all like to do. And I really do thank you for giving me the opportunity to help work with my colleagues on that management committee to make that a reality for all of us. Before we start the conference properly, there are a few thanks I would like to make myself. One is obviously to Matt for the sterling job. Well, we're saying sterling job, we haven't seen it yet. It might be a nightmare of a conference, but I'm sure it'll be fabulous. But to Matt and the fabulous Margaret Green team, thank you so much. To the people at the BIC, we really do look forward to a very productive and fabulous conference. And of course to all our sponsors, who Matt has already named and we'll talk about a lot during the next couple of days. I would like to welcome the members to the committee who have joined, who were voted in by all of you, and who start with us as of today. And that is Clive Biles, Claire Williams, Giles Webber and Mandy Jones. And we'll talk about them a little bit later. But I would also like to thank the outgoing and retiring members, Anne Carter, who's been a fabulous member of the committee for some years, Stephen Coleman and Nigel Mason, all of whom have given great benefits to this organisation and to you, the members. But of course there are, I think, 3 people, and one in particular that we do need to say a very big thank you, and I think we all need to recognise for the sterling work that they have done. And Peter Hepburn said to me earlier on, well, I actually said it yesterday at the management committee, it was very much about, we're all very conscious of what standing on the shoulders of giants means. And we're very conscious we're taking on a responsibility to ADCH to make the organisation stronger and to build on the phenomenal foundations that the previous committee and moreover the previous chairman has set in train for us. And so if you'll indulge me, on your behalf, we have bought a couple of little gifts for 3 people. And so I would like first of all to invite to the stage Matt Devereux and Steve Goody, our Vice Chairman who was just outgoing, and our Treasurer, because we'd like to say thank you to them. I shall enlist the help of my lovely assistant, Peter, over there. I'm told on good authority that this is whiskey, by the way. It's Dalmore whiskey. And is this good whiskey?
It's pretty good.
This is good whiskey, apparently. So there you are. Hang on, you have cards. To Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And to Matt. Thank you. Enjoy that. Thank you. And of course, there is one person we absolutely cannot forget, lurking at the back, ready to heckle and throw things at me. Our former chairman and great friend, Clarissa Baldwin. Please join us. Thank you. Thank you very much from all of us.
That's really kind. Is that whiskey as well?
It's not whiskey. It's a very big bottle of whiskey. No, it's not whiskey.
Can I just say something?
Can.
Thank you so much for this wonderful. You actually said goodbye to me last year, so I'll come back again. I can't get rid of me. But I do just want to say this is a wonderful organisation, and I'm delighted to reinforce what I said this morning. This has got a huge job to do, but what a lot of good work we can do for dogs and cats in the future. And I know it's in very good hands, so lovely to see somebody's faces that I know too. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you, Clarissa. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your clock is now saying 21 minutes, is that right? Well, thank you very much, one and all. And with the opening over, and I now declare the conference open, we will now move into our first session, which is me. So you get me again. So what I would like to do is really talk to you for the next half an hour or so, though my clock's telling me differently, about the future of ADCH. Clarissa mentioned earlier on in the AGM that a lot of things have been happening over the last few months, and we have indeed had a very busy programme of activity. But I thought what we'd start before we talk about the future is just remind people really why we are here. And I have a button that says go next. I'm pressing next and it will work, won't it? Yes, thank you. So this is freely available on the website. Everybody knows why we're here, but the purpose of the ADCH really is all about making sure that we're supporting each other, promoting good practice, working together to look at the common issues and problems that we all have, and seeing how we can get the benefits of collective working through looking at working with suppliers or economies of scale, and potentially benefits through shared buying and shared working. We're looking at ways in which that we share information, and we do that really well in our meetings. And the way that we share resources, combine teams, come together to make things work better for the animals that we seek to serve. We look at how we might produce and improve on our facilities, our animal housing facilities. And then we seek very much, and increasingly so, to represent the views of our members going forward, and on a much wider station than we do currently. Am I pressing the right button here? Because it doesn't...
If you press it once, the guys over there will forward the slide.
Press. Could I have another slide? Thank you. I'll just shout. What I thought would be useful maybe would be to talk to you about what we've done in the last year alone, just to really talk to members about what we've been able to find. So this is the second of two major conferences. Last year was, of course, Blue Cross's conference at Birmingham. And we've had, between the two conferences, around 800 delegates, which is phenomenal, considering we had about 200 in 2005. There's been a real growth, real interest in what we're doing. We've had 3 open meetings between those conferences, with the average attendance at those meetings of around 60 people. And dozens and dozens of forum discussions on our ADCH website, with 372 registered users working on that forum. And you'll be interested to know that we've had conversations on the forum on topics from things like fundraising to use of social media, volunteer dog walkers, rehoming agreements, vehicle fleets, fire and health and safety, software for various different CRM systems, and of course no forum discussion or no forum year would be complete without the conversation about the septic tanks that people have. So we've done an awful lot of talking. Members have been part and responsible for most of that. And we've actually had members engaged in the elections that we've had. So I'm here, my colleagues are here on the committees because of you all voting for us. We have just sent out, a few months ago, we sent out a questionnaire asking for your views on what you thought of our open meetings, what you were looking for with our meetings, what we could do differently. And you came back with some really, really strong ideas and some really great comments that we really appreciate. And as a consequence of that, what we'll be doing is feeding all of that survey back to you and some information about what we're going to be doing to help reshape some of the ways that we work together. We've also done some revisions on the Code of Practice that you approved last year, and the Code of Practice I'll be talking about shortly. We've done, and again, this is new, and that just came out last week, an inaugural membership survey. So we're looking at finding out what the sector is about, what we do, who we help, how many, and I'll cover that shortly. But we engaged you, and already I can tell you that membership survey that went out last week has already had quite a lot of submissions and people filling them in. We're delighted to announce, and I'll introduce her later, that we have, through your support and your generous donations, been able to afford to employ a project manager who's going to help us deliver all of the things I'm going to talk about shortly. And that is Jenny Stepney, and I'll introduce you now. Where are you, Jenny? Oh, she's here, down at the front. Do you want to just stand up and everybody can see? So Jenny will be getting out and about and meeting you and saying hello during the course of the next couple of years. And Jenny will also be on the stand throughout today at the conference. And we've also, as members, fed into government consultations, and we've been able to affect the way that government considers legislation changes for animals. May I have another slide, please? Thank you. These are some of the things that you were saying. And I don't know if you can read that, probably not. But I just think I'll just pull a few things off. I would like to say how important I feel the ADCH is. It provides unique opportunity to share information and talk to people doing exactly the same things, but in a different way and on a different scale. I think that's one of the beauties of ADCH, brings together so many groups. Indebted to members who've been immensely supportive and on hand to offer advice. I wouldn't have been able to make the changes I have without the benefit of being part of ADCH. New members here talking about their first meeting last week that they came to and found the whole experience really positive. People talking about the forum, how much they love the forum. People, I can't overstate how valuable our membership has been to us, with open meetings being a really important part of that. People really appreciate the access to a wider network of people, and I think what we've tried to introduce over the last few years has been a mix of operational stuff and management stuff, and that's been really welcomed. And people generally, all across the association, feel that the meetings work really well. Right, may I have another slide? So ADCH really, looking at the way that some of the feedback came in, sort of falls into these are the things that we'd like you to do. And one of the big things, and we're going to do this definitely because I really need it as well, is name badges, because we have so many people come to meetings who would just like to network better. And know faces, but don't always remember names. And that can be incredibly embarrassing, and I struggle with that all the time. So we're going to make sure that we do that. We're going to make more time for questions. We're going to maybe look at whether we do a bit of theming of meetings so that you can come and you can have almost a whole stream of things that are of the similar nature. We're going to look at more opportunities for networking, because networking is the most important things that people are really valuing here. We might have some workshops, and we'd very much like to hear some of our corporates and affiliates and people that want to work with us also coming in and talking about products and new ways of working and different things, and helping us do our jobs on a day-to-day basis. And so essentially what we're looking at doing is taking the organisation to the next level, and there is a real opportunity for us as a collective body to make a difference on a wider national scale. Could I have another slide, please? Thank you. So where we go from here is very much about a new strategic plan. And that's a plan that we need to put in place with some very clear objectives to them. So the objectives going forward for the organisation are very much about making us that primary recognised body for dog and cat rescue and welfare rehoming organisations. We're looking to ensure that we continue to help each other raise the standards of welfare. We want to increase member numbers, so we need more people joining, because currently we're about 120 members. And actually we're probably about a tenth of the organisations in and around the UK and just outside our borders. But actually we need to have more of those people here, and we're all going to work together to help bring those people in. We're looking at finding ways to bring money into the ADCH, because one of the biggest problems that many of our members face is, well, how can I do this if I don't have the money? What can we do to generate income differently? How can we improve our facilities? How can we change the way we work if we're really struggling for every penny and we don't have people to help us fundraise and we don't have the time to do this? All of those are real issues. And so what we've got to do is try and find a way to see if we can strengthen the financial potential and the opportunities and the capacity of ADCH in order to help members have access to perhaps grants and foundations in order to help members to improve what they have. And most importantly, it's very much about bringing people together. It's about bringing all of those interested parties together, members and supporters and externals and the veterinary world and anybody we can think of, bringing them together to really collaborate so that we are all collectively making an even bigger impact on the animals' lives that we are seeking to help. May you move it on, please? So we have a strategic plan that has really got 4 pillars to it. We haven't developed it yet because that's where you're going to come in. I've just set, these are the sort of objectives that we want to be hitting, but how are we going to do that? Well, you're going to help us work that out because we are all in it together. But they're going to have 4 pillars, and the most important one is all about animal welfare. So that's underpinned by our code of practice, the new code of practice that members are all supporting and working towards. We're looking at how we support members to comply fully with that code of practice, recognising that there's some work to be done there. Looking at how we can give advice, give training, and all sorts of assistance so that collectively we can be better at what we all do, and we can collectively be a better voice for animals everywhere. The legal and financial side, well, we just need to be clear about what the entity is. Who is ADCH? What's its legal structure? So that we make sure that we're in compliance with the law. We need to make sure accounts are where they should be, and we need to make sure that we're all working accordingly. And we also need to make sure that we've got enough money to do all the things that we'd like to do. And that takes a bit of time, but it also needs a bit of focus and structure. In terms of members, what do we do to support members better? Well, we need to develop a better package of member benefits, and we try really hard, and the management committee have agonised for years about how can we get better in giving our members what they really want. So we're looking at ways that we can get out and talk to potential new supporters who will be able to help us build better member benefits, and that might be in terms of services, it might be advice, it might be money, it might be all sorts of things we don't know yet, but we're on that now. We're looking at a new recruitment drive, and again, once we've got the member benefits all nailed, then we can start talking to people about why you should be a member, why you should come and join ADCH, and that will give you tools to go out and talk to colleagues of your own in the animal welfare world to try and encourage people to join, because the more people that are members, the more we will be able to achieve. And then communication. So how do we talk to you? Because it's really important that we are transparent, we're open, we're fluent, we are communicating in 2 ways. So you talk to us, we talk to you, and actually it's very much an open forum. So we've got the forum that Ben runs for us on the website. We introduced last week for the first time an e-newsletter, and that went out. We've got the actual website, and we've also got an influencer matrix, and I will show you a little bit about those things in a minute or two. And then how do we then communicate what ADCH does and who it is and who we are to an external world? Because we need people to understand. And that just doesn't mean people who can support us be better. That's actually talking about the public as well. How do we actually help the public understand who ADCH members are and why ADCH members are better to rescue an animal from? Could I have another slide, please? This is, don't need to talk about this too much, and also these things are all on, I think everybody gets a copy of these slides somewhere later. But this is the plan that the ADCH Management Committee is currently working to. So all of these things on the far left-hand column are the things that I'm talking about now, all the little working groups. We've got lots of people working on all of these things on your behalf. This is what the detail of those actions are, and this is where we're at today's date, and it's all going really well. And we'll be happy to talk to you about some of the detail on that at the stand and indeed throughout the conference. Another slide, please. So, the big reveal is that we have produced the code of practice, both in an e-version, so you have a PDF version that you can get off the website, but it's 41 pages of Word document, which is a bit difficult to plough through. We're now doing a PDF version of this, and we've done a hard copy version of this, and this is now the code of practice as is. So it is all done in a nice colour palette. So what we've done is we've lifted the colour palette of ADCH to give us a fresher, brighter, cleaner look. So we've introduced these pinks and these purples in a different way. We've also created a set of icons which will work all the way through the code of practice. And if you don't mind turning the slide over, I think we'll be able to show people what that looks like. So those icons will help guide you with little symbols, so fostering and food and water and veterinary care and transport and litter trays will guide you through the code, and it's really written in quite an easy reference fashion. I mean, it's still a weighty document because it is all about keeping animals safe and making sure that we're all happy with the standards that we're working to, but nonetheless, it's easily accessible. Another slide, please. We did a member survey. Last week it went out, and I'm imploring you all, please, it's still open, it's going to be open for a few weeks yet, please contribute to this. We want to become an annual survey. And what we want from members is for you to share with us what you do. Where are you based? How many buildings, facilities do you have? Do you own them? Do you rent them? How many animals do you help? Or how many dogs? How many cats? Where do they come from? How do they leave you? In what ways? Are they reunites? Are they rehomes? What do you do? And what that will give us is a huge amount of data that does a number of things. It tells us what the sector is doing in terms of its turnover, if you like. This is the amount of work, the sheer volume of work that members of ADCH do with and for animals every single day of every single year. And it will allow us for the first time to communicate much more broadly for dogs and cats to external stakeholders, to each other. It will help inform some of the decisions that we can make, and it helps us make people realise just what goes on and how much work there is to do. And it will also help us, because the second part of that is, of this survey, is looking at the code of practice. So we'll be asking members, right, what do you think of the code? Do you comply with it fully, partially, not at all? What would you need to comply with it? What can we do to help you? Is there anything missing from it? How can we be better at making sure we deliver compliance on that, and how do we work to that over a period of time? And then the third part of that is what you think about ADCH. So do you value what you get as a member benefit? What do you think of the conferences? What do you think of the meetings? But just generally, what else we can do to be better? And those things I think are really going to be important in helping us. So if you haven't had a copy of the e-newsletter or the member survey link, which was on that newsletter yet, please will you come and give us your details at the stand outside during one of the breaks, and we will make sure that we email that to you and you can have all of that, and we will keep you updated thereafter. Could I have the next slide, please? Influencer mapping, it all sounds a very technical term. In other words, what it is a great big list of everybody across all these groups, rehoming centres and charities, councils and dog wardens, corporate and NGO organisations, veterinary organisations, all the big ones, all the individual practices, all the collective bodies, so the BVAs and the BSAVAs, and the individual and lobbying groups, and the breeder associations. What we're putting, it was hundreds and hundreds of people on this list. And what we're doing for ADCH is collating this huge database of people who can influence what we do, who can help us, who we can help, and we're putting all of that together. And that's going to be a big part of our ability to communicate the benefits of ADCH going forward. Next slide, please. Oh, and so on that influencer map, what I should say to you is we need to keep that live. We need to keep that a working document. So we'll be asking people to help input to that. So if things change, let us know the details and we can update that list. Because as soon as a list goes out of date, then we really are going to struggle. This is a copy of the e-newsletter, and the point of the e-newsletter is to recognise that people don't have much time. You're all running around 100 miles an hour. We are all in the same boat when it comes to time and the ability to sit down and read stuff. So what we need is bite-sized chunks of juicy information, bits of snippets of stuff that we actually need to know about. If we want to then go to find out more about it, there'll be links. So last week, to the people on the mail base and the forum list, I think, they all had a copy of this e-newsletter. And on it was, this is the conference, right? We're all looking forward to Bournemouth. It's going to be amazing. Then the second bit was, here's the code of practice. It's all going to be launched. You're going to get a hard copy. It's going to be fab. And then the third bit was, here's the member survey. Click through straight to the survey. You can click through straight to the conference, tell you anything you want to know. But that, in a very short little one-pager on an email, was what people got last week. And that's what we're going to be, excuse me, I'm going to choke. That's what we're going to be sending out to you every month for the next 2 months on top of this. And then going forward, we're going to be sending it out on a regular basis. So I don't want to promise monthly because we might have nothing to say to you and then it'll get boring and you won't read it. But either a 2 monthly or quarterly basis for that. Next slide, please. Actually, I'm going to hand over to my lovely assistant for that again. It's you, Peter.
Don't go away, we're short of time. I'm coming up at this point really to 2 or 3 brief messages. The first is to say thank you very much for electing me as Vice Chair. I'm extremely grateful to you for your confidence, and I have been working hard, will be working hard for the association. The association is really important to me. I actually value this association very much indeed. And I wear 2 hats. One of my hats is in cats protection as chief executive there. And then at the end of the working day, I take that hat off and I put on the ADCH hat. And like others on the management committee, an awful lot of the emails and the work that we do is at weekends and at night as well as during the week as well. So thank you very much for that. I think one of the things I've really valued about the ADCH, especially over the last year or two with some of the work I've been doing on the committee, is I've been visiting some of the small charities, small rescues, and actually in scale, they're very similar to some of the small branches and adoption centres within Cats Protection. So I often go out and visit maybe 1 or 2 ADCH members and 1 or 2 Cats Protection people while I'm in an area. And it's fabulous to see the work that's going on. It's great to have so many people here in Bournemouth. I love Matt's introduction. He said, we are very young. It's a bit like us, really, aren't we? I went down on the beach yesterday, or not on the beach, on the prom, and when I got there, I thought, oh, the smell of cannabis. It was just amazing. So, I wanted to make a couple of links between what I've just said and the work of the ADCH. First of all, we have a management committee with the 4 new members, and could we have some lights? I'd be grateful if all the members of the management committee would stand up, and the reason for that is if any of the members want to talk to the management committee, you want to know who they are. So could we have the management committee standing up, please? They're all very reputable. I'll just tell you who they are. We've got Claire Horton, who's chair from Battersea, myself, vice chair from Cats Protection. We've got Peter Laurie over there from Battersea, he's the secretary. We've got Ben Wilkes here from Border Collie Trust, who's the webmaster. We've got Jeff Wright there, who's the treasurer from Margaret Green. We've got Jackie Nielsen. Where's Jackie?
In the corner.
We've got Jackie Nielsen over there from Rain Rescue. We've got Clive Biles from Wood Green, who's over there. We've got Giles Webber from Dogs Trust, who's just here. We've got Claire Williams from National Animal Welfare Trust, just there. And we've got Mandy Jones from Blue Cross, who's up the back there. So you've seen who they are. Please, thank you for standing up. Please, everybody else, do talk to them. Tell them about what you want from the association, because they are there to deliver what you want. But it is a two-way communication, and we will be asking you, all of you, it's a membership organisation, we will be saying, look, there's some working groups on this, and would you mind helping on that? And particularly, you know, use the forum. If there's any thought in your mind, bung it on the forum, and then we can all talk about it. Also use the forum, because if there's any question that someone else has put, you might well have the answer, or you might have a particular angle, or you might want to put a supplementary question. So do use the forum. And one of the other things that all the members can do is you can talk to the local rescues in your area. You can say to them, have you thought about the ADCH? This is what it does, this is what it gives me, this is what I contribute. Talk to local charities who are not in the membership, because what we want to do is bring everyone into membership. Now, the last thing I just wanted to say about the ADCH, and again this is personal, some of the visits I've been doing over the last couple of years, some have been to new members where I've been welcomed. You've been absolutely lovely, and I hope some of you are here today. Some have been to try out some of the work on the Code of Practice. And in my mind, I sort of saw the Code of Practice as a sort of management-y sort of thing, and I saw the cats and dogs work of sort of people who actually touch dogs and cats as a sort of hands-on sort of thing. And while I went out and talked to people, I actually realised this was not a tale of two cities. Actually, we're all the same. We're all mad about animals. We all care passionately about animals. And actually, it's all the same job. It's just different bits of it. And that was really heartening to me, to realise that we don't have that split. We are all equally committed to the animals, and that's why we're all here. So on that note, I will pass back to Claire with just one quick addition. You wouldn't expect me to be here without saying this. If you're tweeting, the hashtag is hashtag ADCHAC, meaning annual conference. So if you're tweeting about the conference, the hashtag ADCH AC. Thank you very much. Back to Claire.
Cannabis. How does he even know what cannabis smells like? That's my question. Hashtags. Look, Peter, we're really moving now. It's great. So in closing, can I have the last slide, please? In closing, I just want to say again, thank you to all of you, because it is about all of us together, big, small, wealthy, poor. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter where you are, we are all one family. We are all on the same side, and we are all here to do the same job. And we are all committed to each other, because together we are better for animals, and together we make a bigger impact. And so please enjoy what is the most wonderful conference. It's such a phenomenal opportunity to come together, to meet each other, to share ideas. We've got the most incredible speakers, and I thank you all in advance for what you're to deliver to our members today, because we're all very much looking forward to hearing all of you speak. And thank you to all of you for coming and for your continued commitment, and I very much look forward to working with all of you in the years to come. Thank you.